Welcome back
to another week
in another episode.
We are continuing to ride the wave of our season theme, which is building from within. And today we thought we'd talk about discipline, and that self-discipline isn't punishment.
We've created this idea that discipline means that you have to restrict and you have to control yourself and you have to put yourself in this little box and you're not allowed to do anything fun.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, discipline is something that builds into self-respect. It builds into setting boundaries. It builds into building the life that you want. And so I think it's seen as such a negative thing by certain people, and then something that some people see it as almost too positive.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, discipline, and I say unfortunately because it is hard work, but unfortunately, discipline is something that we do need to be able to build a life that we want and to be able to show up for ourselves. And so I think social media especially has glorified the shit out of discipline at the moment, especially it's how far can you run? Can you run every day? Do you run every day? Why don't you do a long run every single day? Or whatever it may be is, why aren't you working hard enough? Why aren't you working on Saturdays? Why aren't you working at night, every single night? What you're resting? What do you mean you're resting? That's disgusting. Yeah, exactly. So there has to be a balance in this instance of, yes, you have to be disciplined. Yes, you have to push through not feeling like it. You have to just go the extra mile.
Yeah.
But there also has to be intentional rest, and there has to be there has to be some type of flexibility, if that makes sense.
Okay.
And I'm not saying always, but I'm just saying there needs to be slight balance, yeah.
The thing is, when we speak about motivation, having motivation, keeping motivation, motivation really does come in waves. Sometimes you're on a high, sometimes you feel zero, nix motivation, and that is exactly when discipline and self-discipline comes in. And I think that's where you really can see if this is something that just looks nice that you want, or is it something that you truly want and love, and you're willing to work for it and willing to push through.
And go the extra mile.
All the not the lack of times. And that self-discipline is what's going to carry you long term.
Yes.
Through every season, through everything.
To come back to the season, our podcast season is building from within, is discipline is going to build resilience, and it's going to build that confidence in yourself. And I know I'm getting very ahead of our script right now, but it's something that is life-changing as soon as you kind of conquer it, if that makes sense. So discipline is not equal to motivation, like you said, but discipline is also not equal to punishment or being too hard on yourself or having rigid routines that you refuse to break because I have to have this thing, right? Yeah. And I understand that level of discipline, and I think it's amazing, but having it forever and just running with it will cause burnout at the end of the day. And so I think there has to be some type of flexibility. I think we see, once again, you either see discipline as a very, very, very positive thing, or you see it as a very, very, very negative thing, as punishment or pain, or you see it as, I have to have this thing. But there has to be a balance between life and discipline. Unfortunately, life happens and plans change and things cannot always, but most of the time run overtime, run late, whatever it may be. You're going to set yourself up for failure. That's what I'm trying to say. If you don't have a space, a margin for rest, if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
No, it makes 100% sense, yeah.
And so I think we should set up discipline in our lives as a support system and as a challenger, but not as the begin all and end all. The beauty of it is if you build discipline into your life as a support system, you build up that strength, you build up that self-awareness, you build up that trust, and slowly but surely you get to a point where it becomes easy to be disciplined, and it also just becomes fun. I've also realized that I'll have extreme discipline, or I'll say it's a goal for myself for, let's say, for example, okay, I know this is toxic, okay, that's why I'm talking about it. Yeah, is saying, okay, let's say I want to be super skinny and super fit by a certain date or by a certain event or whatever. And so this means that I need to be super disciplined in the gym and in what I eat to be able to achieve that, right? And then while doing it and while pushing myself in the gym or going more regularly or eating more healthily, after a while it becomes really fun, and then I stop caring about the actual end goal because I'm that's actually not what it's about. What it's about is me feeling healthy and feeling physically strong,
capable,
and capable, and it just changed everything for me at the same time. And I was actually, it doesn't matter what I look like at that point in time. This is fine. I'm enjoying this, and I'm doing this for myself, not for that event or not to look good there. It's for me to feel good now and every single day.
Yeah. And it's exactly like that. If we keep waiting for motivation to do things, so you look good for that day and then like now you're waiting for the next event. You might wait a year before a next event comes.
Exactly.
If you keep waiting for that, you get stuck and you feel unmotivated because you literally are unmotivated. But you feel stuck because what's next?
Yeah, what am I working towards? Yeah.
If we don't have the discipline to carry us from that event through to the next until you get that motivation again, you're not going to get anywhere actually.
Yeah, because discipline is not equal to motivation at the end of the day. You have to, discipline is for the days that you don't have motivation.
I think we can categorize discipline, the discipline we are referring to at least, is now as self-trust. So I trust myself to be able to continue, follow through with what I promised myself I will, follow through with commitments, follow through with my career commitments or whatever, my dreams, my hopes. And if you label it as that, I think it's much easier to just continue with it, because that's a powerful thing to say, like, I trust myself.
Yes.
Yeah. No, it's important. It's really important to be able to trust yourself.
It really is. And I've spoken about this a few times, but I went through a phase in my life where I felt like I was there for everyone. And I know that like people felt like they could trust me to come to me because I would always show up for them, but I would never do the same for myself. And so at one point in time, I realized that I genuinely just don't trust myself. Like, I don't trust myself with new opportunities. I don't trust myself with new relationships. I don't trust myself with certain things because I know that I'm going to like screw it up at some point in time because I don't show up for myself in that sense. And I don't show up through setting boundaries or whatever it may be, right? And so I really focused on the last few months to actually sit and build that discipline so that I can trust myself and so that I know that I will show up. When I want to, when I don't want to. You show up a lot better for other people if you can show up for yourself. And that self-trust that I finally have in myself gave me so much confidence to walk into a room and know that I am capable of so much more. And it's like the thing of doing hard things. You prove to yourself you can do hard things become easier. Like, it's just this beautiful cycle of growing within yourself. And
learning your new limits.
Exactly. Removing the limitations that you have on yourself or that you've put on yourself. And it's really cool. It gives you lots of confidence and it's really fun.
I think it's super important to just clarify. You mentioned it or touched on it in the beginning of this episode. But there's a very fine line between gentle discipline and, holding yourself to certain standards, but being gentle with yourself, giving yourself lenience, flexibility, knowing your limitations, knowing, understanding everything happening around you.
No, and also just having grace with yourself.
Yeah, having grace with yourself. And then a kind of a burnout discipline or a very strict discipline. And that is where, if you're working 24 hours because I have so much self-discipline, I'm going to get this done. That's not healthy, okay?
No, 100%.
No, there's also there's a line between, a fine line between that. And I think if you get, people are extreme. People, I think in some part of your life, you'll always go to the extreme.
Yeah.
We just like to do that, I think. So you're very self-disciplined. It can be in the gym. It can be with what you eat. It can be with your work. It can be with the people you allow in, you talk to, whatever. I don't know. But when anything is to the extreme, it's normally not healthy.
Yeah.
And that goes the same thing with self-discipline.
No, definitely. I think so. If you go into the gentle discipline, it builds resilience, it builds self-trust, it builds confidence. There's flexibility included and involved. There's rest involved, and there's a lot more care and grace involved. And then burnout discipline is I have to go the extra mile every single time. I have to burn myself out. Then I know that I'm working hard enough. And I think a big one here is if we are disciplined only for validation. Sorry to burst your bubble.
Yeah, I have bad news for you.
Yeah, but that is burnout discipline at the end of the day. You're not doing it for yourself. You're not doing it to build that self-trust or confidence. You're doing it to have other people think you're great or you work so hard or you're achieving all these things. Are you actually achieving anything or you're just burning yourself out? It's not that deep. But it's not that deep. Stop doing it. Doesn't make any sense.
Makes sense.
But I think the biggest thing is we need to shift discipline once again to be a support system in our lives, to build the life that we want instead of control.
Yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of us, if you think about it, you're scrolling through Instagram in 2025 or 2026 now, especially now in 2026, and everyone is running and everyone is going to the gym and everyone is doing all these New Year's resolutions, and you know, it's super excessive, which I understand. Okay, it's great. I think it's beautiful. It's not that I'm hating on people who have New Year's resolutions. You do you.
You do, boo.
Yeah, 100%. But it's about building that New Year's resolution into a gentle discipline instead of a burnout discipline, because that's why people usually stop with their New Year's resolutions after 2 weeks, because you're burning out, you don't have flexibility, you're not having grace with yourself, you don't understand that your body hasn't ran in like 3 years, and now you're trying to push it to the limits in 2 weeks span. That doesn't work. It doesn't. You're going to get injured, you're going to stop running, and you know what I mean? So stop seeing it as control and see it as a tool to help you build the life that you want.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to add to what you were saying, that it's really important to kind of figure out what works for your season, for example, like what discipline works for your season, to be intentional with choosing what works for now, for the life I want, for the life, like where I'm going with my career, or going with a routine, or going with my health goals or whatever. And I think it's really important to not compare it to anyone. So if their goals might look super different, so their discipline will actually be super, super different. Yeah.
But even with the two of us, I mean, our lives are very differently set up, right? Laurie's married, I'm single. Laurie's got her business. I've got multiple projects running at the same time. We've obviously both got the podcast, but I've got different fitness goals to you.
Yes.
And I've got different like family goals to you. And everything is different. It doesn't make sense to compare my goals to your goals. And it's also like, if I think about it, my life has changed quite a bit in the last 3 to 4 months. And then before that, I also had a 3-month stint that was different to the 3 months before that. And every season, my discipline needs to change and my habits needs to change to like fit into that season and fit into the time that I have. I mean, now I have to, for example, I don't have as much time as I used to have. So now I prioritize meal prepping and either going to the gym like at night, or I can't go, like, because there's no other time to go. Or what I'm like chasing for this next year is going at 5 o'clock in the morning, which is really painful for me. But you get what I'm saying, is your habits and your discipline needs to be able to change throughout the season that you're in. You have to be able to give yourself that flexibility, because if 6 months back, I had a lot more time. If I was exercising, this is just an example obviously, but if I was exercising 7 days a week at that point in time, my life is a lot busier now. I cannot uphold that schedule with everything that I'm running at this point in time. My body will crash at some point in time. I need rest. You need intentional rest. And even if it's just your body having more, like needing more mental capacity to deal with the things that you're dealing with, you still need to allow yourself that flexibility.
Absolutely. We kind of want to wrap this up and bring it all together so that discipline can bring a lot of freedom with a bunch of things, stuff like decision fatigue. It brings you peace, it brings you more energy, because it's all about a routine, about sticking to a plan, not waiting for motivation, but rather taking action and making sure that you're showing up for yourself and for your goals and for your dreams, while keeping it a healthy boundary.
No, I completely agree, especially with the decision fatigue. And I feel like it's something people don't speak about enough. I mean, a lot of people don't believe in decision fatigue, which I think is stupid.
It's crazy.
I mean, you look at the most successful business owners ever. They only wear the same thing every day because decision fatigue is a thing. But it's so true. As soon as it's not an option to have the discipline, like it's not an option to do that thing, it's not an option to go to the gym, it's not an option to not eat, it's not, it just becomes a lot more, it becomes routine, it becomes easier, it just flows, and you don't have a choice. But it builds so much confidence and like trust in yourself. So yes, I completely agree. Discipline equals freedom. Exactly. And it's really cool to like see it that way and like take the negativity out of it.
Yes.
And the like restrictiveness and limitation
and the
of
exhausting part of it.
Yeah, exactly. The burnout part of it. But yeah, I think we just really want to leave you guys with the idea that discipline is not about like being strict and losing control and limiting yourself, but rather to like build that confidence and clarity in your life. And discipline builds the life that you want at the end of the day. So cliche, I know.
You must have the best week.
Have the best week. We will see you next week. And yeah, have a good one. Love you. Bye.